Hey everyone! Hey there! Thanks for coming back to our channel for another movie. Please remember to like and follow if you like what we post. Thanks for your support. It helps our station get more views and grow. Let's get into today's subject. One important thing I want to talk about is how the narcissist had no idea you would leave. They really didn't think you'd be strong or determined enough to end the relationship. But if you do decide to leave, it could have big effects, which I will also talk about in more detail. It is important for us to look into how a connection with a narcissist works. The narcissist usually tries to control everything in these kinds of relationships, even the story of the relationship itself. They want to set the rules and keep control over their partner. This power is a big part of how they act. There are likely times when a narcissist told you at the start, "You're probably going to leave one day. I know you will get tired of me, just like everyone else." This statement has two meanings. First, it's a way to control you, because they're projecting their own fears onto you. They want to make you question them, and think that you might leave them. This is meant to get you ready for future battles, by letting you know that hard times are on the way. These kinds of words from a narcissist can be hard to understand. They may not be aware that they are gently letting you know that rough weather is coming. They often say these things to avoid taking responsibility for what they do, making it sound like it's your fault if you break up in the future. This is an old trick that makes you think about your own choices and thoughts. A lot of people feel shocked after the first stage of respect, which is sometimes called the love bombing stage. You might be confused and ask, what just happened? This happens a lot when things change quickly. The love at first can quickly turn into control and trickery, leaving you confused and not sure what to think. It's important to know that the person you're working with loves being in charge. Every part of the relationship is affected by the narcissist's need to be in charge. To keep this power, they use a variety of abusive and manipulative methods that make sure they decide how the relationship works. This need to be in charge of everything is what makes their partner's emotions go crazy. Having said that, it's important to remember that many of you, like me, may not have fully known the nature of the relationship you were entering at first. What you didn't know was that the narcissist was planning to make your life very difficult. The narcissist really knew what they wanted from the start of their relationship with you. They had a plan, and part of it was often changing your world to help themselves. People who are narcissists often get stuck in a loop with their partners. Within a certain amount of time, they may grow bored or feel like they have had enough praise and attention for now. So they look for a new supply, someone who doesn't know how they do things and can be sucked into the same harmful loop. This new supply is often weak because they don't yet understand how the narcissist controls and manipulates them. Gaslighting is one of the main things narcissists do. This kind of trickery is meant to make you doubt your own reality and ideas about what you see. The narcissist wants you to believe in their made-up story instead of the truth of what you've been through. In the beginning of a relationship, they often do something called love bombing. They might tell you that you're the best thing that has ever happened to them, and that they can't picture their life without you. These big claims can be very appealing. A lot of us believe these words and think we've met our soulmate. The narcissist paints a dream for us, and we get really attached to it. But as time goes on, it becomes clear that this was all just a show. In fact, they want you to live out their fantasy while they deal with their real life, which often includes manipulating your emotions and not really being there for you. People who are narcissists often take the people around them feel and think less when they're around them. They want your time, energy, and love, but they don't give you much in return. This imbalance makes the setting toxic, and you may feel drained and unappreciated. The gaslighting makes this pattern stronger, because the narcissist wants to keep control over how you think and feel. They want you to believe their story of events, which makes it hard for you to see your own strength and the chance to leave the situation. Narcissists never really believe that you will be brave enough to leave, which is very important. They think you will stay caught in their web of lies and manipulation. A lot of you reading this message probably know what I'm talking about. Perhaps you're saying, Yes, the narcissist did all of that. And you'd be right. The things they do are part of a bigger plan to keep you weak and dependent on them. The narcissist uses projection and gaslighting to make the world around you fit their wants. This world is set up to make it easier for them to abuse and manipulate you, which puts you at a big disadvantage. By making this false world, the narcissist is trying to control your feelings and thoughts, making it hard for you to see what's really going on. You should depend on the ego for everything. If you count on them, you're more likely to believe their skewed story about what happened. Your mental and emotional health are at risk because of this habit. Their favorite kind of chaos is the kind that makes it hard to think straight. Once you took a step back and thought about what was going on, you might start to question their actions. You might ask yourself, wait a minute, this isn't right. Who acts like this? Narcissists, on the other hand, know that this is possible and work hard to keep you from knowing that. Their main goal is to keep you from realizing that you have the power to leave them. In their hearts, they really believe that you will stay in the relationship forever. The narcissist uses different strategies to keep you from thinking about leaving. If you get dumped or break up with a narcissist, keep in mind that they don't really dump you. They just put you on a shelf. In other words, they can briefly cut you out of their lives, but leave the door open for you to come back whenever it suits them. During this process, you might be in denial and have trouble with feeling confused and like you can't move on. The narcissist leaves you hanging on purpose, not giving you the conclusion you need. Keeping things from getting resolved is a way to keep control of the situation. They want to make sure that they can come back into your life whenever they want, so you're always not sure what will happen with your friendship with them. When you start to understand what a narcissist is really like, they get scared. You might find the strength to leave them for good if you understand how they are manipulating you. They don't want you to know how they're cheating on you or how badly they hurt you emotionally. They love having power over you, and the thought of you realizing that power and using it to leave scares them. It's important to stress this. The narcissist never thought you would leave. In their actions, they thought that they could keep being deceptive and nothing would happen. But the fact that you've chosen to leave is one of the worst things that can happen to an ego. They have trouble because they don't know how to deal with stress or solve problems. They don't have the emotional tools to deal with events they can't control, which makes your leaving even harder for them. Narcissist-seeking individuals are very controlling because they want to be in charge at all times. They want to make sure that their goals and expectations are followed. They try to be in charge of that part of the relationship if there is ever a fight or something that goes against what they both want. This need to be in charge can make it harder and harder for you to say what you want or how you feel. They have no idea what to expect when you finally decide to leave. I think a lot of you can relate to this. It often felt like you let out a monster when you took that first step to leave. You may remember getting a lot of calls, texts, and efforts to get your attention again. Some of you chose to ghost the narcissist, which means you stopped talking to them without giving a reason. Others may have talked to them directly and made it clear that you would no longer put up with their behavior. Sometimes, you may have packed up your things and left while they were gone, only to find that you hadn't come home when you got back. There is one thing that is the same no matter how you left. The narcissist did not expect you to leave. The narcissist may act in very extreme ways in response to this unexpected response. It's important to note that leaving a narcissist can be one of the most dangerous times in a relationship, especially if they show signs of sociopathy or psychopathy. There is a chance that these people are dangerous, and your safety should always come first. The narcissist is not ready for when you finally get the courage to leave. They are used to being able to control your feelings and actions, and when you leave, it throws off the balance of their carefully built world. Therefore, you may see them acting in such a strange and intense way. They didn't know that you were quietly watching how they manipulated you and keeping track of the bad things they did to you. They thought that their strategies, which included gaslighting, projecting, pretending to know the future, and giving you good feedback from time to time, had successfully caught you in their web. They thought that they had full control over you. But as soon as you got the nerve to leave, the front started to fall apart. At this point, the ego may show a more unstable side. You may have known they were unstable for a while, but when they are really desperate, their true nature often comes out. You could compare their response to a machine that has gone into overdrive and is now aggressively chasing you. They might try to get you back into the relationship by being nice, making threats, or losing their cool. Someone who is a narcissist may send you a lot of texts and calls after you decide to leave them. Text messages from the narcissist are common. They promise you the world and say they will never make the same mistakes again. They might say that you are hurting them and that they will change, so you shouldn't leave them. It's important to know though that they almost never, if ever, say sorry. Most of the time, their pleas and promises are just empty words meant to get you back into their control. They are telling you everything you want to hear, because they didn't think you would actually leave. The narcissist and maybe even their family may not have been ready for your exit, which can make the situation even worse. A lot of you may not have told your friends or family about the problems you were having in the relationship. You just finally gave up and said, "I can't take this anymore." This quick decision can catch them off guard, which can make them act erratically and desperately. It is important to know that when you leave a narcissist, you have fundamentally messed up their world. Narcissists have a hard time trusting people, and when you decide to leave, they might respond in ways you can't predict. People may act in ways that seem extreme or out of character, but these actions are usually caused by their need to get back in control. It is very important to see these actions as warning signs and stress how important it is to stay away from the relationship. It can be very dangerous to go back to a narcissist after you have left them. They might want to hurt you emotionally or punish you for what they see as betrayal. People who are narcissists often think this way. They see themselves as victims, even when they are the ones who hurt others. This is very important to remember as you deal with your emotions and choices during this rough time. Please pay close attention to this message. It is very important to be very careful when working with a narcissist who also shows signs of sociopathy or psychopathy. Some of these people may have a skewed view of reality, and they can respond in strange ways. It's important to keep an eye on your safety and health, especially if you just ended a bad relationship. When you think back on the relationship, you may remember how great you were as a source for the narcissist. They didn't really think you would leave. They thought you would put up with the abuse forever. It doesn't matter if the narcissist dumped you or tried to make things worse, so you felt unwanted. You are now aware of the abuse. You were aware of the patterns that were hurting you and chose not to let them back into your life. Narcissists really believe they can do anything and not get in trouble for it. They think there will always be a way back into your life, so they can come back whenever they want. When you finally put your foot down and say, "No more," it totally shocks them, because they feel like they deserve it. They are not ready for this limit, and it will have a big effect on them. The narcissist in your life gets angry and upset when you decide to leave. The other person doesn't understand why you would leave them. They are reacting this way because you were a strong grade A source of supply for them during the good times. They really thought you would stick with them for a long time. They were sure that their ability to trick and charm you would keep you around forever. But the fact that you chose to leave shows them they were wrong, which is hard for them to accept. Should you feel lonely or alone after leaving the narcissist, you should fight the urge to let them back into your life. This is a typical problem, especially when people are having a hard time emotionally. Remember that the narcissist never thought you would defend yourself and set limits. They thought you would always put up with their behavior. And now that you've left, they can't handle it, which makes them very upset. As soon as you leave, the narcissist might try to move on quickly, looking for new sources of supply to make you jealous or bring you back. Many of you, though, have gone further than that. You are getting closer and closer to not caring about the narcissist's acts or relationships. Having this emotional distance is a good thing, because it means you are taking back control and focused on your own health. It is important to know that the narcissist never really thought you would leave. They didn't realize how strong and tough you were. Some people thought you were too trusting or weak to ever think about leaving. They thought you were weak because they got the wrong idea about your good qualities, like how kind, compassionate, and ready to help others you were. What they don't see is that these traits are not flaws, but strengths that make you strong when you need to be. There's nothing worse than hearing the door slam shut when the partnership ends. Since your choice is final, the ego has no way to come back. Eventually, the narcissist will understand how valuable you are, but it happens too late for most people. They start to understand how helpful you were to them, and might even come to like you for who you are. But it's important to know that just because they are more aware doesn't mean they will actually change. They may know how valuable you are, but that doesn't mean they'll treat you better if you go back to them. Not letting them in after you shut the door on them is a wake-up call for them. They now know that you have good traits, but that's not enough to make them stop being so manipulative. You should be proud of how strong you were when you finally shut the door on the narcissist. They knew you didn't want anything to do with them anymore, because you stood your ground and set clear limits. We should be proud of this act of strength. When you leave a narcissist, it can be a very confusing and emotional time. If you used to be close to this person for a long time, you might feel guilty, sad, or even confused. People who experience some amount of codependency in the relationship should know that these feelings are normal. You might think it's easy to stay with a narcissist if you've been with them for a long time. But it's important to keep in mind that this isn't just a problem in love relationships. Narcissistic behavior can happen in work settings, family ties, and friendships as well. In the event that you finally decide to stop putting up with the abuse, your choice will have a profound effect on the narcissist. It was their sincere belief that you would never break. They thought you would always put up with their bad behavior and never say, "Enough is enough." This false belief about you shows that they can't set healthy limits. As I already said, you may have had a discard, which is also sometimes called a backward discard. This doesn't always mean that you broke up with them. It could mean that they pushed you away, or made you feel like you weren't good enough. In this case, they may have put you on hold, seeing you as an option rather than a top concern. When you had enough of being treated like a second-class citizen, you did what you had to do and slammed the door on them. It can be both surprising and motivating when a narcissist tries to hit you up after you have moved on with your life. At this point, you've probably made up your mind about how you feel about them. You've had enough of them controlling you and making you feel bad, and this choice sends shockwaves through their system. The narcissist wanted you to not do anything and wait for them to decide when they wanted to talk to you again. Narcissists often think they are in control, and that you will always be there ready to start the circle of abuse again, because they didn't think you would finally snap and say, "Enough is enough." They don't think you're strong enough or determined enough to leave them behind. The truth is that you have the power of the final discard. No matter if you were discarded, reverse discarded, or decided to cut them off because of their toxic behavior. Many people who have been abused by narcissists need to understand this very important truth. This is your choice. You have the power to end the relationship, and you decide when it's time. It is your choice to set limits and take back your life. Even if the narcissist dumped you in a mean way, or tried to make you feel unwanted and hated, when you finally say, "Enough is enough," they are out of the game for good. You should be very proud of yourself for being able to keep this jerk out of your life. This isn't easy. You need to have a lot of guts and strength to break free from their psychological hold on you. They can mess with your emotions and thoughts, making it feel like a fight of the soul to finally slam the door shut and lock it. It's important for your healing that you recognize your success and give yourself power in this way. The narcissist didn't think you'd get this far. They thought you would always put up with their behavior and do nothing. This misunderstanding shows that they don't understand how strong and resilient you really are. You have shown them they were wrong by taking charge of your life. You have shown that you are not just a passive player in their game, but that you are an independent person who can leave unhealthy situations. Finally, you should feel very proud of yourself for closing the door on the narcissist in your life. Making the choice to leave is a big step toward reclaiming your freedom and health. Don't forget that you deserve good relationships with love and respect. Please like, write, and share your thoughts below if this video was helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more videos that will help you heal and gain power. Thanks for watching. See you in the next movie. Hey everyone. Hey there. Thanks for coming back to our channel for another movie. Please remember to like and follow if you like what we post. Thanks for your support. It helps our station get more views and